Eric here. I had the pleasure of speaking at Google Cloud Next this year. I just got back. And I got a bunch of DMs in the last 24 hours asking if the talk was recorded. It was not. So I'm going to go ahead and remedy that here. A note of warning, this is not a talk really about Flutter, and definitely not a technical talk. It's really a talk about how we at Shorebird have been successful using Google Cloud with a small number of people to serve a lot of customers and a lot of devices around the world. So without further ado, here goes. So I'm here to talk to you today about how my tiny company has been successful with Google Cloud at serving over 1,000 queries per second to tens of millions of devices around the world every month. And here we go. So if we haven't met before, my name is Eric Seidel. I've been an engineer for a long time. That's my training. I started a couple companies along the way, including one before I joined Google. I was at Google for about 15 years, and then now I started another company about 2 years ago, which has brought me back to cloud. You may have known me through my time at Google on the Flutter team. I helped start the Flutter project and led the Flutter team, and then later the Dart team for about 8 years before leaving 2 years ago to start my current company. If you haven't heard about Flutter, Flutter is Google's multi-platform UI toolkit. Flutter helps you write high-performance, high-fidelity UIs that go anywhere you need. You don't have to make a trade-off between portability and quality. This was to answer Google's own problem of wanting to have portable code, but needing it to adhere to Google quality standards of end user feel, right? So Flutter has been out now almost 10 years and is used all over the globe by millions of developers and lots of huge companies to do big things. So for example, Toyota uses Flutter for all of their cars. LG uses Flutter for TVs. Google uses Flutter for a whole bunch of different shaped devices. And obviously lots and lots of Android and iOS developers use Flutter to deliver for mobile, and even some for Linux, Mac, Windows, etc. So I led the Flutter team for a long time, but as those of you who have worked at a large company know, some things are easy to do at a large company and some things are really hard. And there were problems for Flutter that I wanted to solve that I found difficult to solve from within Google. So I started a new company, Shorebird, to solve some of those problems. We're filling in the holes that developers and companies need to be successful with Flutter. The first of those holes that we have decided to fill is an over-the-air update solution that we call Code Push. So the way this works is if you've ever written a web application or even a cloud application, you push that application, you deploy that application, and immediately all of your users are using your latest code. That's not how it works for mobile. So mobile, when you deploy, it can be hours, days, weeks before the first user sees that code. And it can be even more, days, weeks, months, until all of your users are updated to the latest code. And it's really hard to develop that way. And so all of the largest apps, so like YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, etc., have all built their own updating systems. But these updating systems are not often available to the general public, or certainly there wasn't one for Flutter. And so we at Shorebird built one, and it works great. It's in production day. You can learn more about it on our website, etc. But again, this is what brought me to cloud and why I'm here talking to you today. So about our cloud, how we use Shorebird. Obviously, we've written a whole bunch of client-side code because I'm a client developer, have been for a long time. But we also use cloud to take these updates that are built on developers' machines, store them, and then serve them to the devices that they are intended for. Obviously, because we are also a B2B SaaS, we have a website. We have a web front end to this whole application, which again is hosted on cloud. And finally, a quirk of our system is that it's not just users that are talking to our cloud. It's also the all the devices that these applications are deployed on talk back to our cloud in order to receive these updates. And this currently numbers in the tens of millions of devices, which causes significant load, or at least what feels significant to me, again, coming relatively new to cloud, on our services that, again, we don't need to worry about. I've never been paged in the middle of the night because Google Cloud just takes care of it. About what we use in terms of cloud, we use storage for storing these updates from our customers. We use AlloyDB to store all of the customer data. We extensively use Cloud Run for a whole bunch of services, including the services that talk directly to these devices. We use a little bit of Compute Engine for mostly build bots. We use a whole bunch of logging and processing of logging in BigQuery, and we use a variety of other smaller services. We ended up with Google mostly because this is where our customers already were. So we serve to businesses using Flutter, and Flutter is a technology that came from Google. And so many of these customers are already on Google Cloud, and we chose to be as well. Again, it's been a while since I've used cloud. The last time I used cloud was probably close to 20 years ago when I started my last company. At that time, EC2 and S3 were brand new. We did use them, but it was quite difficult to use them. It wasn't nearly as self-serve or turnkey as it is today. So one of the big learnings that I've had in coming back to cloud 20 years later is just how good the modern clouds are at turning engineering problems into business problems. Most of the time we write what we believe is a simple solution, we deploy it, and we can trust that it's going to scale, it's going to be secure, and if we've done it wrong, another learning that I've had is that often your build just tells you whether you're using the right tool or you're using it correctly, which has been very helpful. So I actually have come to think of cloud and use cloud in the same way that I would debugging a performance problem on a client application. And you just sort of look at the bill and look at the billing tools to debug where you are going right or going wrong. One of the things that has come up actually several times for us is when we've used a solution that works but isn't the right tool for the job. For example, we at times have used BigQuery calls from our front end. BigQuery, it turns out, is not at all designed to be called from a front end. And so don't do that. It'll blow up your cloud bill. And we've had our DNS configured wrong at one point or another and had extra network billing as a result. But in general, I've found that the cloud bill is actually quite good at telling you whether you're using the intended tool for the job or not. Another lesson that I've learned through this time around at cloud is, again, last time there was much more rails in terms of you need to be using this tech if you want to be successful in cloud. And these days, Docker and REST have just won. And we use Dart, another Google technology, but it is not an official cloud language. But it's worked great for us. Yeah, we've had to write a little bit of Dart code to fill out the, again, not officially supported Dart cloud APIs, but largely it's just worked. Another learning that I've had has been that, at least in the modern day, you really want to get yourself out of the console and into code as quickly as possible. We started in the console, as I think many do, but any large, serious application at scale ends up in code, and I would encourage you to move to infrastructure as code as soon as possible. In any case, that was the talk. It was very short. It was a lightning talk designed mostly just to introduce those in the audience to who I am and who Shorebird is, and allow them to ask questions about cloud, which we then fielded live, and then some, again, at the Flutter station at Google Cloud. Obviously, this is the internet. You're welcome to reach out. I am very findable on the internet and would be happy to take your questions if you have any. Otherwise, take care.